Greetings, salutations, respect, and love, boys and girls. You're in the Prog Corner, and my name is Scott. And guess what? You probably figured it out from the title and thumbnail. It's time to do an album review. And today we are reviewing a new one from Unitopia, the great Australian band's fifth album. What is going on with Australia, by the way? In 2022, my album of the year was Ben Craven's Monsters from the Id, and now we've got this deluge of product coming out of Australia. Unitopia broke up after their fourth album, and they kind of splintered off into two different bands. Southern Empire and United Progressive Fraternity. Well, now that Unitopia is back, wouldn't you know it, all three of those bands are putting albums out at the same time, as well as a new Stephen Unruh album with his band Resistor. And all of this really is courtesy of a guy named Mark Montforti from progrock.com Essentials. This guy's been super busy. Got to be a labor of love. He's putting a lot of his own money into this stuff. Couple years ago, he remastered Discipline's Unfold Like Staircase with a new Terry Brown mix, cleaned that thing up. But this guy's been super busy. I guess he's also involved in the new Chester Thompson solo album. So who is Unitopia? What's going on here? Well, their first album came out in 2005 called More Than a Dream. It was all right. I liked it. I didn't love it, but man, they got good real fast. In 2008, Artificial came out. Loved that album. Outstanding album. 2 years later, Artificial comes out. That one was a keeper. And then in 2012, they dropped a covers album called Covered Mirror Volume 1, Smooth as Silk. We were assuming if Unitopia ever had another album, it'd be another covers album, but thankfully, that's not the case. Seven Chambers dropped last week, and it is a really, really cool record. Who is Unitopia? Well, let's look at this. It's the two main guys are Mark Truiak. He's the singer, and he is joined by the other co-founder, Sean Timms, who's the keyboard player. Friction between these two guys is what caused the band to break up. A few years ago. They're back with some new members, man. Exciting new blood in the band. You've got the great Stephen Unruh from Samurai of a Prog and Resistor and all kinds of other stuff he's involved in. Yeah, he is in United Progressive Fraternity with Mark. He appears on the Southern Empire album. So, he's a dude from Rhode Island. He might as well just move to Australia at this point, man. New guitar player Dr. Johnny Greenwood joins the band. This is a British guy who moved to Australia after the 2002 Bali terrorist bombings to help with burn victims. He's been named Australia's Man of the Year. So he lives in Australia now. I guess he's a big prog rock guy, but how unfair is it, right? That a dude who's like this successful surgeon, like on the absolute top of his game, oh, he's also an amazing guitar player and songwriter. It's not fair, man. It's not fair at all. Way too much talent in those guys' fingers. And then the biggest change, the most exciting change for the band is a brand new rhythm section. Oh my God, like made in heaven kind of rhythm section. Mark Montforti was really, really busy putting this thing together. He's got Chester Thompson on drums and Alfonso Johnson on bass. Come on, man. They don't need any introduction, but just in case you don't know who they are, Chester Thompson, of course, played with Genesis, played with Zappa, played with Weather Report. Alfonso Johnson played with Santana, of course, played with Phil Collins and Weather Report also. They actually played on one album together, Black Market. I don't have it. I'm showing another one, but, that's all good. I guess Alfonso is not doing great, so they've been doing some live dates, touring around, and they've got Don Schiff. Come on, man. Yeah, that's not much of a drop-off at all. Two guys absolutely on top of their Chapman stick games. Don Schiff, of course, from Rocket Scientist. Just an amazing guy. He's played with Elvis Presley. He's not on the album, but if you do catch Unitopia live, you'll probably see Don Schiff. Alfonso Johnson on the album. Just incredible. So yeah, Mark Truiak went on to form United Progressive Fraternity. Their new album is called Planetary Overload Part 2, Hope. It's like 3 hours worth of music. I don't know if I'll review it. Maybe I will. It's really, really good. I think Nathan on Shuffle reviewed it already. Go check him out. And then Sean Timms formed Southern Empire. They put 2 albums out, and now their 3rd album has just come out called Another World. It's really good too. This album here, 7 Chambers, is the artwork. Let's talk about that first. I do not want to forget mentioning the great artwork of Ed Unitsky. Just incredible. His artwork is always on point, man. Just really, really good. Yeah, so for the most of this review, honestly, when I do a review, I read every other review online. I watch every review on YouTube. And usually a lot of my notes are kind of an amalgamation of, from different sources. Not today, boys and girls. I got to give credit where credit is due. And the great Leo Trimming from Progressive Aspect, he wrote an incredible review on their website and talk about doing all the research for me. So I got to give Leo credit. A lot of these notes are based straight off of his review. Yeah, the one thing he pointed out in his review is that now we've got 4 songwriters in the band: Greenwood, Unruh, Timms, and Truax. So, you've got a very, very a great wealth of incredible songwriting at your disposal. This album is like 82 minutes long, so if there is a complaint to be had, perhaps it's just a little bit long. Like, it's called 7 Chambers, obviously the arteries in the heart or whatever. I'm thinking it's a metaphor for like heartbreak and, bad feelings and feeling sad about your significant other leaving you. This has nothing to do with any of that. This is very literal. Back in the old days, we used to maybe talk about forest nymphs and elves and stuff in prog music, but apparently now we're talking about walkers and diabetes and heart attacks and stuff like that. It's just crazy, man. Yeah, these guys are all like old people, except for Stephen Unruh, man. I should talk. I'm one of them. The album starts so good, man. Just an incredible number to get things started off called Broken Heart. It's great. It's a Greenwood Truax song about a heart attack that Mark Truax had. Starts off in B flat, and I think it stays pretty much in B flat all the way through. It's got a dark orchestral intro that I really like. And then Greenwood's guitar melody comes up, really introducing himself right away. And then you get some like Genesis Duke-like percussion in the background. This thing's got an amazingly strong chorus. I really, really like it. There's a cool middle section. It starts out in 4 and somehow devolves into 6/8 time while you're not paying any attention. And then the strings come in. And then you get that final verse. The song's like 8.5 minutes long. So when that vocal part comes back in, it's real crunchy now with a real powerful charging rhythm. And it takes you all the way to the end. And it's just really, really great. The next song is called Something Invisible. Apparently, this was a song Mark was going to use for the latest United Progressive Fraternity album, but he wisely chose to put it on this one. It definitely fits better here. A lot of that United Progressive Fraternity album felt real world music and real world beat kind of stuff. Unitopia used to have a lot of that in their music too. Not so much anymore, man. This album's a little darker. This album's a little heavier. But this song here kind of reminds you a little bit of old Unitopia. This song's apparently about Truax having a brain tumor and having some kind of nerve condition. Thankfully, there's a doctor in the band, right? Jeez, oh man. It's in C minor. You get some real slinky drums, kind of creepy gothic keys, which are really, really cool because he's like a half step down, then he goes a half step up. It's awesome, really cool. You get a real jazzy chorus. There's some like jazz chords in here, which is the first time making me think, okay, yeah, Chester Thompson and Alphonso Johnson are in this band. And you get like a really cool chamber music section. The middle section's great with the Unruh's violin and Sean Timms' piano. Really great song. I like it a lot. The third track is called Bittersweet, and this one is the head scratcher, man. This is the one a lot of people are going to be pointing to and identifying if they don't like this album. It starts out nice, kind of in a Genesis kind of mode with an acoustic guitar and flute. You're in A major, little piano figure comes in. It's nice. It's pleasant. Mark's singing about, his sugar level's too high. Clearly, this is a song about diabetes. And then at the 5-minute mark, what in the world just is going on here, man? It just does this total change around. And Mark's singing about all these foods that are really bad for you. And then he turns around and starts singing about all these foods that are good for you. It's just crazy. It's weird, man. Somehow they shifted into E minor while they're doing this. And it's just bizarre. I don't know how to feel about it. I was listening to this song in the car, and my wife was like, no, this is ridiculous. I don't like it. I'm starting to like it, though. The craziness is actually really cool. And Mark says that the Godley and Cream song Snack Attack from 1981 was an inspiration there. I listened to it on YouTube the other day. I can hear it. Next up is a 12.5-minute song called Mania. And this is about bipolar depression, clearly, because this song is in 2 parts. The first part's like kind of got a heavy mid-tempo kind of thing, which is really cool. Some good lyrics. I speak 1,000 words. I live my life in minor chords. It doesn't rhyme, but it's cool. At the 6-minute mark, you get a heavier section in E. It's a little bouncier, and you get a little vocoder in the vocals, which is kind of interesting. And then at the 9:30 mark, it gets real heavy, kind of prog metal here, which is, this is Unitopia. You don't expect to hear things quite that heavy, but it's kind of cool. I really dig it. The ending's real playful with Sean Timms doing all kinds of crazy stuff on the piano. And then it ends with Mark going, I'm flying. I guess maybe he's on too many drugs, too many antidepressant drugs or whatever. Next up is The Stroke of Midnight, 9 minutes and 38 seconds. This is about a patient Dr. Greenwood had, who had a stroke right at midnight, apparently. It's got an orchestral opening, and then some piano comes in, and we're toggling back and forth between F minor and B flat, or D flat rather. Who cares, right? You guys aren't going to be taking notes about what chords they're playing, right? And then Dr. Greenwood plays some acoustic guitar that makes me think of Steve Howe on That Is. You've got a kind of a Marillion atmospheric section. And then you get this real cool classical breakdown in the song. And then like the second half of the song is all Stephen Unruh's violin, just this mourning, sorrowful, just emotion-packed violin with Sean Timms piano playing in the background. Really cool moment on the album. I really like it. And then the album is concluded with 2 long epics, the first of which is called Helen. It's over 19 minutes long, and it's about some doctor named Helen Tossig, who was deaf. And I guess she did a lot of crusading against harmful drugs in the environment and this, that, and the other thing. And she was able to feel heartbeats and stuff with her fingers instead of using stethoscopes. The bass guitar opens up with some really cool chords, and it's kind of the first time on the whole album I'm actually listening to Alphonso Johnson. Kind of almost forgot he was in the band, which is unfortunate. You get some Fairlight synthesizer kind of making me think of Peter Gabriel while we're floating around in E minor. It does its thing. It's pleasant. And then you get this weird breathing machine sound effect with Johnny's guitars in the background, which is pretty awesome. And then you get into this real twee section, this kind of Renaissance-y section where you got the piano and the flute and what sounds like a mandolin playing this real charming little melody. And then it goes into a very, very cool a cappella section. It ends kind of with a world music kind of feel as we devolve into Genesis territory. As we're in A major with some acoustic guitar, almost sounding like a 12-string and some piano. It's a pleasant track. I don't love it, though. The more I listen to it, the more I'm liking it, but it holds me back just a little bit. But then, oh my goodness, we get the final song, and I don't have any notes for it. I thought I had notes for it. I'm going to have to wing it. The final song is called The Uncertain, and it's written by Stephen Unruh, apparently about health problems that he's had. He's the young guy in the band, man. Why is he having health problems? And it is just a monster track. I absolutely adore this thing. It's like 18 minutes long, goes through a whole bunch of changes, but then towards the end of the song, man, it just comes up so powerful with this incredibly powerful riff, and Stephen Unruh playing like a fife, like we're back in the Revolutionary War days with this, chugging heavy guitar in the background. It's incredible. It's one of the great highlights of the album. In fact, one of the great highlights of Prog this year is that final section of The Uncertain. Final song on Unitopia's fifth album, 7 Chambers. So, what's my score on this bad boy going to be? I can't believe this is 15 minutes long already, man. We only talked about 7 songs. Dude, I really like this thing. I'm going to give it a 4.5. If I liked Helen a little bit more, it would be a 5. It really is that good. If you want to hear great musicianship, great songwriting, really cool concept, a little bit different, right? I mean, this is a kind of a different concept album. We're talking about health concerns for aging prog rockers, man. That's pretty cool. I got some stuff in the mail. Yeah. I want to make sure I give a shout out where a shout out is due. Peter DeMore, a guy from Wisconsin who was telling me that he used to work for Camelot Music back in the Brookfield Square Mall back in the day. He sent me 2 of his CDs. This one here is called Reclinal. He's got price stickers on them. Who was selling these? And then another one called The Line. This is a double CD. I haven't opened them. They're going in the car. Kept them right here until I talked about them. So thank you for that, Peter. Really, really cool. I'll be listening to those 2 over the weekend. And then I got another package from Ontario, and this one came from Mark Kopernicki, and he's got a band called Project Gemini, and he sent me his 4 CDs. Check this out, man. In the Year 3073, Book 1. That's good artwork, man. Book 2. Book 3, and his latest one, What Lies Beyond, which is not book 4. But anyway, I'll be checking all these CDs out over the weekend. My work never ends, man, but it's a labor of love, I gotta listen to prog rock. Oh boy, that's just terrible. It's just the worst thing that could ever happen. I gotta listen to prog rock all weekend, man. Forget about it. Anyway, so that's my review of the great Unitopia and their 5th album, 7 Chambers. Tune in next week, kiddies. We're gonna have a lot of great content. Sunday prog stream, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Be there. Anyway, like I said, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save that king. That sucker needs some saving. Yes, that son of a gun could use a little bit of saving. Yes, he could. Yes, indeed. Let's get him to church on Sunday. Yes, we will. Anyway, peace. I love you.